Y'all, if y'all thought we were done with the drama involving the Braxton honey, it's just getting started. Allegedly, Traci Braxton left her son Kevin Jor in charge of everything because she didn't want her sisters anywhere near her estate because of how greedy they are. And she wasn't wrong, because aren't they now just capitalizing on her death unapologetically and at the expense of Traci's son baby? There's a lot of drama going on with the Braxtons, and I hope you are all seated. Okay, so there's a will that Traci left before she passed, and in the will, Traci gave orders for her funeral, and she made her son, Kevin Surratt Jr., her personal representative. This means he was put in charge of paying Traci's funeral costs and any debts incurred from her illness. In the papers, Traci also requested one viewing and to be cremated, and she didn't want her organizations, Zeta Beta Sari Incorporated and Order of the Eastern Stars, to make appearances. These papers also said that Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr. were in charge of deciding what Traci wore for the viewing and the guest list. The will also states that Kevin Jr. was the executive, and when he is ready, he will also take over the management of Traci's brand and likeness. Kevin Sr. was left with certain bank accounts, a diamond ring, and the remains of Traci's niece Lauren Braxton real estate properties, and the remainder of the estate were also divided and given to Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr., so the husband also got something. But the majority of the things were left to Kevin Jr. honey. When this will started making rounds, people were saying that Traci changed her will and put her son in charge instead of her husband, because she realized that Big Kev gave her HPPV due to his cheating, which was probably the reason for her throat cancer. So they think Traci knew exactly what she was doing when she left almost everything to her son. Okay, but what about the sisters? Why didn't she leave them in charge of anything? Allegedly, the reason why Traci never left the sisters in charge because they always treated her so badly. And people are saying that they now see how the sisters are carrying a lot of guilt from how they treated Traci. In fact, people are saying that when the Braxtons premiered, it was like the other sisters were getting to know Traci along with us. And people are pointing out 2 instances where the family treated Traci like trash, like that time when the sisters visited Traci and all they did was nitpick and complain about the food she made for them. Basically, a lot of people are of the opinion that Traci was the outsider and was treated as such. And to be honest, she really didn't have much reason to leave our sisters in charge of anything. You know, maybe this is why Traci's son Kevin Jr. did not fit in when they went back on television. And for anyone who has been keeping up, you all know that he has been a mess from the beginning. For starters, in the first show, he shared that other than navigating the loss of his mom, he was getting a divorce from his wife, Olivia Herron, after a few years of marriage, and everything was just heavy on him. Then, in a different scene from the Braxton premiere, Trina also quickly spoke to her husband, Von Scales, about the status of Big Kev and Little Kev's relationship, and she said they don't talk as often as she would think during their time of grief. In the same episode, there was also some kind of distraction when the sisters were talking to Kevin when he was at home, and Tamar was speculating that he was talking with the cops. Then, when Tawanda went back to the couch after calling him, she told them someone called the police, letting them know Kevin has a warrant for his arrest, and she feels someone close to Kevin called and set him up. Once again, in episode 7 of the show, Kevin said that the divorce from Olivia was the hardest challenge he had faced all year, mostly because he was totally blindsided. He said that he actually tried his best to fight for his family, but Olivia said he didn't fight hard enough. Now, after filming a session with the grief counselor, Kevin supposedly took a lunch break, but when the production team went back to check on him, he was found unresponsive on the floor. The production team even wrote about the event, saying after Kevin's grief counseling session, he took a break for lunch with the TV production team. Production hadn't heard from Kevin in a while when they went to check on him. They found him unconscious on the ground. The team then added that once Kevin regained consciousness, they quickly looked for Tawanda, who went to check on him. They said that Tawanda came in her car and asked the Braxton's showrunner, OG, about Kevin's location, and OG told her that Kevin was in stable condition with them. The director said that Kevin Jr. had a seizure and was all over the place and said that Tawanda should check on him. OG further told Tawanda that they didn't know if Kevin would be okay and asked for his medicine, thinking it would help improve his state. Tawanda then shared that Kevin's wife, Olivia Heron, was the one who told her about Kevin's seizure, which he allegedly started getting after his mom died. Now, to make matters worse, there was video that was also making the rounds, involving the late Traci Braxton's husband, Kevin Sr., and their son, Kevin Jr., and from the looks of it, Kevin Jr. was getting a proper whooping from his dad. There's no background of whatever was going on with them, but what you can hear is Kevin Jr. saying several times, "You told me no," and then Kevin Sr. calls him a liar.
No! You told me no! You told me no! You told me no! You told me no! When I asked you if you live in a house, as a condo, you said no though! But you said no! You told me no! You told me no! I'm not lying! I have no reason to lie to you! Put a mother... Let's go. There you go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. It was before your mother cancer. Before my wife cancer.
Basically, this also highlighted the problems Kevin Jr. has been having with his dad, and many people assumed that Sr. is having all these issues because Traci left their son in charge of her estate. Speaking of Kevin Sr., remember not so long ago Traci's husband was also out here, also exposing the family for disrespecting him and capitalizing on Traci's death.
How close was the Braxtons with Junior before Traci got sick?
%20.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he had already claimed that after Traci passed, the sisters of his late wife were treating him like a bad husband for planning a funeral service because they said it was against her wishes. Kevin and Traci's manager arranged a funeral with a viewing and Zoom links. And according to the family, that was against Traci's wishes. They insisted that Traci did not want a funeral or wake and specifically asked to be immediately cremated upon her death. Regardless, Kevin went ahead with the funeral. And although none of Traci's sisters nor the mother showed up, her father attended the funeral but was allegedly initially denied access for not being on the list. An insider even said about the case that he was so upset that he wasn't on the list. Someone from the church recognized him and let him in, and he had to sit in the 4th row. Braxton's father wasn't even allowed to speak or say any words about his daughter. Well, Sr. also said that Traci's father was not denied access. And he also said that the sisters and the mom were invited, but chose not to go. He also said Traci's father and brother briefly attended the funeral and weren't pushed away from celebrating Traci's life. Kevin also slammed the sisters for making him out to be a dead husband in the media and claimed Traci wanted a viewing and one memorial service in conjunction with her management, PR, and other members to come together and enjoy her. He said, quote, "I was with my wife more than anybody in this world. I know my wife. And when she got cancer, we really started to talk about funeral plans, and I was still trying to find treatments for her. I went to every single one of her doctor visits throughout our entire marriage. That's how we were, and now they're treating me like a bad husband." Tweet end. Before this, the sisters had already made it clear that they had issues with the one person who stuck by Traci to the very end and even disrespected him openly. There was even an episode on their show where Traci called Tawanda a snake, and she felt like Tawanda's boo was out of line for trying to get the sisters to hash out their problems in Napa Valley. At the time, comments were also made about Kevin, Surratt, and Tamar slammed Kevin about his criminal record while he tried to stick up for Traci. Then while watching the show, Tawanda reacted to Traci saying Sean is always in the sisters' business, and replied to a fan asking why Traci went off on Sean at Trina Braxton's wedding with, "'Cause she mad because... unlike her, I have a real man." Okay, I get that. Sr. was already having problems with the family, but it was still a bit weird that the family was navigating the grief without involving Kevin, yet he was Traci's husband. There were actually people on social media saying that it was disrespectful for the family to have conversations about Traci without including her husband, and when people started questioning what was going on, Sr. did an Instagram live after the show premiered, and while he did not specifically say that there was something bad going on between him and the Braxton, he suggested that they were having problems. He talked about how it took a whole village to handle the grief with Kevin Jr., and how he had other people who were helping him through the process. In addition, Kevin Sr. did another interview, and he went into more details about his relationship with the Braxtons, saying that they didn't like him from the beginning, and he said that it was the sisters that put the pressure on Traci to end her pregnancy and leave the group. He also stated that Kevin Jr. is struggling with alcohol and having a hard time with his mother not being here anymore.
Absolutely saw the episode. So this is the illegitimate child situation. So I told you earlier, I have a daughter. And so at that time, remember I told you earlier also, I used to work a lot. So when Traci and them started doing the show, I eased up on work, and then I was home more, and I was taking care of, like my home. So my grandson used to spend a lot of time with him. My grandson is Zaire for my daughter. So Zaire used to come over the house, and my favorite spot, Sherelle, is Starbucks. So me and him would go to Starbucks, and we would partake in my venti chai, and we had fun. But he was hyper, so he was all over the place. So this girl saw me at Starbucks, and she put it on Twitter. I'm in the Starbucks with a child, and I guess the rumor went from there. So my sister-in-law Tawanda had got with Traci's management team, which the assistant manager, they came up with this thing that I had an illegitimate child, and they put it on the show. But the child was my grandson, Zaire. And so the funny part is, like I was telling Trey, I said, Trey, that's how we ended up going on marriage boot camp. I said, so if you look at it, it looked one way, but it turned into something else because we was able to go on marriage boot camp and work out some of our issues. So it really elevated our marriage. So thank you, is what I said to that situation.
Child, on one hand, it looks like Kevin Sr. is the villain in the story, but on the other hand, people are also saying that the sister turned all of their guilt for how they treated Traci into anger aimed at Sr. And now they are turning others on Sr. by publicizing the struggles between Junior and Sr. Yet Sr. was not allowed to be on the show to state his perspective. Others are also saying that other than banking on Traci's death, the sisters are using Kevin Jr. for money. I mean, they didn't include him in the family events when Traci was alive, but now they want him to be all over baby Traci. Possibly she saw through all this BS with her sisters, and that's why she didn't leave them in charge of anything. But what do you think of these fights they are having with Kevin Sr.? Are they all just trying to milk Traci's death? Do you also think that they are using Kevin Jr.? Why do you think Traci never left any of them in charge? Drop those thoughts.